No, don't
What?
turn that on.
Oh, okay, hold it, stop, okay.
Basically what...
Okay.
You're on.
Now we are on the record. We're now on the record. And so I'd like to take a roll call vote for our public session here of May 14th, 2018, starting to my right.
Vaughn Morgan?
Justin Durarke, Paul Sanderson.
Jim Ralston. Chip Huzzy.
We've already conducted our non-public session. We're now on 7 o'clock for public hearings. The first is a public hearing acceptance of donation for the Greenland Veterans Association for $500.
This is an annual donation that they make or depends on when the cards run out, and it's used to buy gas and food cards for the welfare population, residents only.
Okay. Based upon that, is there anyone in the public who'd like to have any comment with regard to accepting a donation from Greenland Veterans Association for $500? Not appearing, do I have a motion?
I have a motion to accept the $500 donation from the Greenland Veterans for welfare assistance.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Second public hearing, acceptance of donation, Loco Sports LLC for $500 to the fire department for the Portsmouth Half Marathon.
This was the half marathon that was run on April 22nd, and they have donated $500 to the fire department for appreciation of their time that they spent there.
Okay. Anyone from the public with a comment on this potential donation for $500 from Loco Sports LLC? Not appearing. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept $500 donation to the fire department from Loco Sports LLC.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the vote is unanimous. Third, a public hearing regarding poll licenses.
This is the required public hearing to approve the amendment to all the existing poll licenses that we have in town, which is for every telephone utility pole. Currently, the way the poll license is written, it doesn't automatically include the taxation provision established by RSA 7223. The utilities have all been invited to attend this meeting, and based on the vote, if it's approved, existing poll licenses will include the language regarding taxation, and they are currently being taxed, these utilities, but they have been appealing those taxations due to the not having the amendment, basically they're not appealing it based on us not having it. They're appealing it based on fair and equal treatment of all utilities. So electric companies have been paying, but telephone companies don't want to pay.
Okay. Anyone from the public with regard to commenting on poll licenses? Okay. Certainly the good part of this is these will be retroactive and they will cover all the licenses that exist in town, even those that have been granted as far back as 1880.
Correct. The license itself is retroactive, but the taxes are not.
Okay, with that in mind, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the existing poll license as amended to include language regarding taxation pursuant to RSA 7223. Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the vote is unanimous.
Okay, this just needs to go around and be signed.
Okay, now that that is signed, our next issue on the agenda was an appointment with Chief Cresta regarding hiring a fire department lieutenant, and we're going to pass over that because it is not necessary. Moving on to the approval of minutes for Monday, April 30th, 2018, Tuesday, May 1st, 2018, and Monday, May 7th, 2018. Let's start April 30th, 2018. And I'm not sure which of us, I think we were all here.
I'm going to move to approve the minutes of Monday, April 30th, 2018 as written.
And a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving-
We've had a lot of meetings recently.
Moving
Somebody
on.
went to meeting.
Yes, moving to Tuesday, May 1st, 2018. That was our meeting with the Recreation Commission. And so we
No.
That was Great Bay.
That's Great Bay Drive West.
Sorry, right.
Wrong guy, Jim.
The next one, okay. Tuesday, May 1st, 2018 was Great Bay West. We were all here. So therefore, do we have a motion with regard to those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of Tuesday, May 1st, 2018 as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. And then Monday, May 7th, 2018, and that was with Recreation.
Yes.
I move to approve the minutes of Monday, May 7th, 2018 as written.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Moving on to old business, Coakley update.
Okay, I've got a couple different things that have come through, and one I just learned about today through the newspaper. June 7th at 7 p.m., the city of Portsmouth will be holding a meeting with all the parties for Coakley, including the engineers, at the community campus. I learned about that through the newspaper today. We have not actually been notified.
Okay. I wonder if we will be and if we are welcome.
I plan to attend.
It's a public meeting.
It's a public meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
And what I've included is a letter from the EPA to Peter Britz regarding their plan on their groundwater testing, the bedrock. Basically that what they had proposed has not been approved, and they've been asked to look into certain areas and redo their proposal.
And I think we also saw in the paper today, they're still saying it's going to take 2 years to go through that particular process.
Right, and that's what Portsmouth is saying. The concerns that are brought up in this letter is, some of it is with the timing.
Okay.
And that meeting is June 7th?
June 7th, 7 p.m. at Community Campus.
Okay, I'll try to attend that with you if I can do that. Oh,
and-
7 p.m.?
Yep.
Oh, I can't. Got another meeting.
What day of the week is that, sorry?
It's a Thursday.
Is that a planning board?
Our last meeting.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is planning board, because
work session.
that's our last meeting, yeah.
Okay. They're meeting this week, and I'll just discuss that with him to see what we want to do. They may want to go to that.
I did also, Jillian Lane had an excellent meeting in Washington with a representative from the EPA that is in charge of Superfund sites, and he is now no longer with the EPA.
Did everybody read the article in Sunday's paper?
Yeah.
Everybody here? Yes. Okay.
And then Representative Malloy, do we know how the committee of conference went, or that goes tomorrow? Yeah.
Yeah, and the meeting I had scheduled for last week on the water line with Underwood and city representatives got postponed until June 6th because most of the city representatives weren't going to be available.
Okay. So it will continue to be busy. Okay. Next item for old business, the fire department roof bid.
Yeah, this is the project that was the warrant article approved, $90,000 to replace the metal roof on the fire station with a Butler building type retrofit on top. Only one bid was received, and that came in at the amount of $124,800, so significantly above what we have budgeted. Chief Cresta just recently had rubber roofs put onto his buildings in Kittery, and he recommended, he had his contractor come down and take a look at our building on last Thursday, and he's putting together a proposal for us to consider anyway. Whether or not we decide to go that route or completely rebid it for a rubber roof option.
That go in the doc reports?
Yes, it did. No, it went into construction summaries. Same type thing.
Was there a reason why there was such a discrepancy in the money we appropriated as opposed to what came out to be a bid?
We based the $90,000 appropriation on what the Tyree architect had given us as an estimate in that architectural structural survey that he had done.
Yeah, that fellow's a structural engineer, right?
Yeah, and so he estimated 75,000 actually, and we upped the warrant article to 90 to allow 15,000 to do welding on the beams.
That would give me
Right.
lots of stuff.
Yeah,
How good is other figures are?
because I was like, it wasn't cool.
Nobody else bids on it, that's how you get the big figure, if you got,
Well,
they throw it at you.
Well, and one of the things I learned too is Butler really controls who has the licenses in particular areas to their retrofit construction. So I sent direct mail all of the Butler building distributors throughout New England. I sent them directly the copy of it, and then also put it in construction summaries.
I didn't think this was a Butler building though.
It's a
Butler style.
Butler style retrofit roof is what he's recommended based on the weight and
I'm wondering if that's why we can get the bids also, because the other roofing companies probably have got, other building companies probably have retrofits for it,
I actually copied directly from what the
you know?
engineer did because it's above my knowledge.
Okay, any further discussion or any particular motion with what to do with this bid that we have?
I don't think we should accept it.
No.
We don't have the money anyway.
No, right.
I'd like to rebid it.
That's what I was thinking.
And something, and I'd like you to check with the engineer to see if there's a better language to put that doesn't cut it to just a Butler building design.
Okay, so a motion to reject this bid and to rework specifications and rebid, is that in order?
That sounds good. You started, I finished, that's worth it.
If that's the motion,
I seconded it.
okay, good.
How
Okay,
was that one?
clear enough for you, Karen?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't want to second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it is unanimous. Any other old business?
I have one thing I want to just run. During our meeting with the rec committee, I made a mention of possibly looking for a part-time person to help them out with the logistics and stuff they're doing.
Yes.
I would love to have Karen send them either an email or a letter to each member of the commission, committee, and find out what jobs and how much time is it going to require that they would want that person to do.
Okay. And this was someone to help really with scheduling.
Scheduling, the renting of the fields, ordering a baseball base.
Okay.
Did they ever get that in?
I have no idea.
So what they would want the duties of a part-time rec director to do.
Yeah, right, yeah. It's basically a system on their logistical stuff that they seem to have the biggest problem getting done.
Okay. And along with that, their idea of a source of funds. How would we pay for this?
Mhm.
And out of other town funds probably doesn't work.
But I will tell them. Right there.
Okay. Any other old business? If not, we move on to review of the town administrator's bi-weekly report.
All right, let's see. The affinity lighting we're going to get to in a moment. For the Portsmouth Herald reporter, Marissa Novello had been covering our meetings and attending meetings for a few months here. She has left the Portsmouth Herald, and we'll be getting a new reporter at some point.
I think that's probably good news for her.
It is. She got a full-time job with an advertising company. She had
Good.
sent me an email.
Good.
The fire station roof we just talked about. Regional impact is also on the agenda. Great Bay Drive West, the wetlands permit has been approved. And I got a nice note from Evan Lewis on the emergency work that we did, basically telling me next time, just even send me that same notice before we do the work, and we can still issue an emergency that day. Equalized valuation, we've been notified from DRA that our equalization value of town assessment is $827,986,402, which is a $35 million increase over 2016. So that's the 2017. It's always retroactive. We won't be learning about 18 until after September 1st. But that is what is determined, what is used to determine how much money we get for state education aid and railroad aid. It's also used to determine how much we pay to the county tax. Hopefully they will both wash out. And for the town office trim, we received one bid of $7,200, and I've asked Paul to coordinate with that contractor.
And what was the amount we budgeted for that?
$5,800.
Okay, so over, but not shockingly so.
Right.
Okay, and where are we going to get our extra funds?
In building maintenance.
Okay, so we have it.
Yep.
Transfer. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, if we're done with that bi-weekly report, project of regional impact.
Okay, Mark Frugier brought this to my attention as well as to the planning board, that Lonza Biologics, has been a lot of press in the newspaper that they're going to be adding 1,000 jobs and up to 1 million square feet of space. Route 33 is already very full during commuting times. So the planning board has recommended that the Board of Selectmen send a letter to the City of Portsmouth, to the PDA, Rockingham Planning Commission, and our state representatives, that this is a project, should be considered a project of regional impact.
I also move that.
Okay, and that's exactly right. It was discussed that way in the planning board, and that was their recommendation, and I think that's appropriate. Because about the only thing that can be done on 33 is to deal with the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal. That's a $3 to $4 million project. So that is going to require, perhaps in the 10-year plan, but it may also be something that's dealt with by Lonza. Probably you also saw in the paper today, I think it's what, 310 additional new units at Frank Jones on the Route 1 bypass. And that, of course, also causes significant traffic impacts. I don't think that has a direct relationship to us, but my point is that that's that many more vehicles coming onto the Route 1 bypass that will be coming onto the main routes into Pease. So that will cause even further diversion out here.
Yep.
Okay, so significant, very significant. And it's not something that has ever been done in my experience that either the PDA or Portsmouth recognizes us as a project of regional significance. And yet that really needs to change, especially with this one.
Right, and I think that we've got a lot of good information that we can use to send a strong letter.
Okay, so if we can get that drafted, then we'll
Yep, so we
get
have
it.
a motion,
Second.
and I'll prepare it for the board signature with all the signature lines.
Please. So motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to Willowbrook Avenue, Great Bay Drive West.
Okay, what I've got for you here is the traffic plan plan that was submitted by Lyman. Chief Laurent is requiring a detail be posted. The Stratamed is fine with the flaggers. So it is an amendment to the plan. The plan was, it's a change order because it was planned to be flaggers.
Okay. Just for folks so they understand, under state law, you can have just flaggers, but what we have had a very strong tradition here is to let our police chief make a determination. This is an unusual area in the sense that it's going to require complete closures. And so therefore, I certainly want to support the decision that the chief makes. And consider it money very well spent. So if we could have a motion with regard to this.
I'll make a motion to approve traffic control plan submitted by Lyman. That's
Our contractor.
Yeah. Exactly. Lyman Sons to Underwood Engineers for Willowbrook Avenue and Great Bay Drive West.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Laura, you had a question?
Not on that, but on Willowbrook Drive.
Sure.
Is this an appropriate time?
Yes.
I understand that DES approved your permit for the change in the culvert from a 3-foot to a 4-foot culvert. I would like to ask the selectmen to consider, despite the fact that you got that approved, that permit approved, to consider still delaying this section of this road improvement until we find out whether we have been able to get money in order to make it a box culvert. I'd like to remind the selectmen again that Thompson Brook has gotten a lot of public support, a lot of attention, because it has native brook trout in it. It's not just a little stream, it's one of the major tributaries to the Winnicott River. The Winnicott River right now has a 319 grant to do a management plan on the river. One of the culvert improvement BMPs for that is for Thompson Brook down on the Winnicott River. So you have money coming in specifically for Thompson Brook. We can get money, hopefully. We've at least applied for money to see if we can help offset the cost of putting in a box culvert. It's not that a 4-foot culvert wouldn't improve the flow of water, wouldn't maybe potentially improve aquatic life access, but many of the crossings for the Winnicott River have severe, all of these reds here are severe for aquatic life being able to cross key culverts going into the Winnicott River. And I just think that we have an opportunity. I understand that you've gone way down the road on this planning, but we have a reason to potentially delay it. And I think that the Conservation Commission would be willing to go out and talk to people on that Willowbrook Road and explain why we would like to have the selectmen take a little bit more time. And I know that Karen was concerned about all of the downed trees in that section of the stream. I think that we can get volunteers to help come in and make that stream look a lot nicer. If you'll let us do that, if the town will do this delay so that we can bring some money in, maybe bring some volunteers in, and really help reinvigorate the upper part of that Thompson Brook. We know it's a valuable brook. We know that there are brook trout in it. We know that there's public support. So I'd just like to have you, I'd like to place that in front of you for a vote, for a vote of support.
Do we know the status of our grant?
Not yet,
It won't be until August or September.
that we actually get. We'll know this, we should know this week if we are asked to complete a full application.
Okay. What would be the impact on our contract with Lyman?
I would have to look at the specifics of it.
Yeah, because,
I know that they're scheduled out.
Yeah,
we lose our window, right?
right.
And,
Well, actually, we still got Great Big Drive West they could be working on too,
well,
switching that around.
the other concern is not just our window of construction, but also what happens if that culvert fails and we have a collapse?
Yeah, I don't think it's in,
I don't think it's a failure, because
It's not.
they were told us to close it now.
yeah. It's not subject to that part of it. What the problem with the culvert right now is that it's perched up.
Yep. Okay. I know for myself, before I took a vote on this, I would want to have a discussion with Lyman and find out what the impacts were going to be.
And I would too. I mean, that's important.
I don't want us to be in breach of contract. I don't want us to go into a winter with a potentially dangerous culvert because we have no other alternative. But, you know, if there is a way for us to stay within our window and allow this process to go forward, I don't mind, but I sure don't want to get into the breach of contract situation. You know, especially
We're
because,
supposed to decide on that moving forward. Or is it next week, tomorrow or next week? Moving forward.
This week.
Yeah, I think it's the 15th, I'm not sure, I think that date sticks in my mind.
so we, depending on if the grant does not make it through the first round, then.
That makes it easy.
Then we have our answer.
I have a question, because they were involved with giving you a quote for a box culvert.
Mhm.
So they would be included, it's not like there would necessarily have to be a new contract. So they.
Right, it's the timing.
Oh, I understand.
It's just the
I
timing that
understand.
they're to be done by X date.
Yeah. In addition, a box culvert is a pre-stressed concrete thing that has to be specifically manufactured for the location. It's not an off-the-shelf item like a 4-foot culvert.
But when you say by X date, that's an agreement with the town by X date, right? So if the town, as long as they're not worried about losing the contract, if the town was flexible, it wouldn't necessarily be a breach of contract. You are amending the contract, you are changing it, but.
They have people working for them out in the field today.
Right.
And if in fact they can't go to work on a project that they're contracted to work on, they can't just ramp up and mobilize at another location overnight.
Right, we were bid as a spring project, they already have summer project, fall project.
I understand.
And not having a manufactured box culvert, that could be weeks.
Right, and
Especially
yeah, I
now.
have no idea.
Because again, it's not an off-the-shelf item, it has to be specifically manufactured for that location.
So if Karen could talk to them and I can call and see if we can find out for instance, how many grant applications were put in for this round. No one's going to give you a lot of information ahead of time, but I can try and find out more specifics.
Sure, I don't mind, some reasonable slack here, but not to the point where we're in breach of contract or run the opportunity of not having it fixed this year. Because the other part of it is we lose our funding for the entire project because it lapses at the end of this fiscal year. We already had to encumber it at the end of last. So if we don't get it done this summer, we don't have any money.
So what I can do is contact Underwood to put this out to Lyman, see
Sure.
what the option is,
Yeah.
and have them get back to us at least in writing.
Yes.
They started the tree clearing yet?
Yes.
I asked that, and I said, I don't know.
And I know if you talk to the fish biologists, especially the trout biologists, they don't want one stick taken out of that stream.
I think they've got a little bit more leeway on that.
It's
You
pretty
know,
messy.
they like their sticks laid a certain way.
You talk to John McGee, he doesn't want one stick.
We've talked with Mitch Coulter a lot with the Great Bay Trout Unlimited on that specific
Yeah,
project.
I've talked
And
about
I know that they were arranging sticks to help with the spawning.
It's surprising. The rest of us would think the best thing to do is clean it right out. That's apparently the worst thing to do. So,
When Vaughn and I walked up there, this.
Poison ivy all over the place.
Paul, if you don't mind, I talked with him most recently because we were talking about doing a little bit of cleaning further down on the Winnicott.
mhm.
And, you know, he said they'd like to be involved, but they certainly understand, especially where the stream is really visible. They absolutely understand the need for doing cleaning. And if there's something, you know, that was an idea, if there's something that the Conservation Commission can do to help out on that.
Okay.
I think we can do that.
Well, let's keep our conversation going and get our facts back when we can.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next issue, LED lighting conversion at the town office, PD, and fire department.
Okay, we had had such a success with the conversion of all the streetlights to LED and the amount of savings that we're seeing in that already, that I had the company come back and give us proposal for converting the lights at the town office, police department, and fire department. And not only would they change it to LED instead of the fluorescent, they would become programmable, dimmable, occupant sensitive, so that lights would not be left on. And they would, during the daylight, it would dim when they're not needed. So it creates a savings all the way around. And there is some reimbursement from Eversource for it. The total cost of the project would be $27,000. That's not funds we have available in 2018's budget at all. The rebate would be $8,500 with a net cost of $19,000, but we would still have to upfront the $27,000. So then I asked him if he would, and the return on investment was 34 years, would be saving.
34 months. Yeah.
34 months. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. We would be saving $559 estimated monthly savings on our electric bills. So then I had him break out the buildings only because that number was just so large. So the fire department building gross cost would be $4,483. Police department would be $15,075, and the town office would be $9,236. So we don't have to do them all. We can budget this as a project for all of them for 2019, you know, whatever the board desires.
It's an incredible amount of savings, I think, really.
It
It's just the way to go.
Quick return.
What possible source of $1,000?
27,000.
Well, I understand. that.
Right.
Well, first of all, if we decided to do this, when could they get them installed?
Probably 30 days.
Okay, so at that point, we're going to have about 5 months' worth of savings on the electrical itself.
In this calendar year.
So there's about 3,000 of what we need. And so therefore, we need 24,000 more.
Right. Technically, we would still need the 27 because we can't spend the revenue.
Oh, I understand.
So it makes it awkward there. We are overspent in snow. We are underspent in salt.
But we also have November and December where it will snow.
Right.
Correct. Propane for most of the buildings are overspent. Because it was just such a cold winter.
Yep.
I think police department looks a lot better than town office. We're over by about $1,000 already on propane. We probably won't use any more until winter again, because the heat and the air conditioning are both electric.
Okay.
The propane is mostly used up in the highway garage and in the fire department, their bays. for heat.
And how are we doing on solid waste?
We're right on target. The money, the accounts that I did it all today, and we should be at 46%. Most of those accounts, all through that department, other than actually the new construction on roads, are all in the 40 to 45% range.
Okay, so we're on track.
We're on track.
And we're not going to get hit on recycling the way some others are we?
No, because we have 2 more years on a zero.
Yeah.
Unless we have contaminated loads. I've talked to Covanta. I've passed the information on to Paul that if there's more than 5% in the commingled recycling that's contaminated, and every so often we have some, but we try to catch it. They throw the pizza box in there that still has a slice of pizza. It can contaminate the load. So if it's less than a 5% contamination, there's no cost, and then more than a 5%, 5% to like 15%, it's like $20 per ton as a penalty. If it goes over 15%, it's like $100 per ton penalty for contaminated loads.
And from what I've been seeing in other localities, they're having a 0.5% contamination rate before they have penalties.
Wow.
0.5%.
Yeah. So Covanta is being really generous with us because we have a no cost. Those that have like revenue, if they can't, they're regularly tied to the blue sheet. If they can't sell that load because of contamination, they don't get any revenue at all.
Right.
So I think it's probably going to be good for us to get something out onto Facebook as well, is, your glass jars, wash them, rinse them. Don't throw a jar away with half a jar of spaghetti sauce. Or, the can of dog food that you didn't rinse out. Those are, did you just yell at him?
No, I said I'm.
No!
A former family member not living here, never watched anything.
I thought you just gave him the what for?
I
No,
will say
he's
though, that
really good.
the guys at the dump are really good as far as policing.
We try. It's the pizza boxes that get by us when they just and they left the pizza in there, or the crusts in there. No food products. But we'll be working on that.
Okay, so
Put
our,
your rats in every container.
so our building maintenance account really is not going to be enough to enable us to do the project now.
I can take another look at actually what's in building maintenance to see if there's anything that we can
Yeah, as we were saying earlier, nothing has been kind so far this year. So
No, and we were on a very tight budget as it was. There was not a lot of, we cut the legal, and legal is adding up.
Wouldn't it be prudent to just do it next year? I mean, we're gonna,
Easier to do it next year. The savings, the sooner you start savings, obviously, the better you're saving, but
yeah, but we're gonna get hammered the next November, December.
We can wait till November, December to see if we're walking around in shorts and long sleeve shirts and whatever. That'd be the safest way to do it, really. Wait till then, see where we stand. Maybe get a couple of buildings done instead of both. Get the ball.
does it seem to be our consensus that we all like to do it, but we can't figure out how, so not now?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to put it.
Yeah.
so I'll plan it for 2019 unless things happen that it gets better.
Okay. Next issue, first half tax warrant.
Okay, this is the first half tax warrant for 2018. The tax rate is always based on 50% of the prior year's tax rate, which was $16.64. So this is at $8.32. The increase in the valuation for 2017 to 18 for what's taxed is 736 million versus now we're at 793 million. The exemption values also increased, though. We have, quite a bit with residents that went from level 2 to level 3 for exemptions. So our exemptions are at 2,347,000, and that includes exempt property as well. And then veterans credits increased from 120,000 to 126,000. So the first half tax warrant will be $6,162,959. It's been proofed with the town clerk with her system, and there is a $66 variance between the two systems, which is likely due to rounding.
Okay, got a motion with regard to this.
I make a motion to approve the first half tax warrant in the amount of $6,162,959.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's a vote unanimous.
All right, so that's the page that needs to be signed for the tax collector. But the second half bill will probably be in that same $6 million range, depending on what happens with valuation in the reval. What people will have to understand is we still will be collecting the $6 million. You know, it'll be higher than that because of what the school did in the bond, but we'll be collecting approximately $6,500,000. People are going to start in about a month or so getting revised valuations for their properties. It's our reval year. So while your property may be assessed at $250 right now, you may find that you get a notice saying your property is going to be assessed at $280,000 or $290,000. So just because your value goes up, we will still be collecting that same $6.5 million, and the $8.32 for the half will be $1 lower than that, or whatever. It's not going to change the amount we are asking to collect. And it's always a sticker shock when people get the revised assessment. Oh my goodness, my taxes are going up.
Next issue is we have 2 veterans credits, 71 Boxwood Path and 368 Breakfast Hill Road.
Right.
Make a motion to approve the 2019 All Veterans Tax Credit in the amount of $500 for the resident at 71 Boxwood Path.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2019 Veterans Tax Credit in the amount of $1,000, $500 each for the residents at 368 Breakfast Hill Road.
They are both veterans.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
While those are going around, I will just make an announcement to the board that the Conservation Commission has invited you to, on Saturday morning at 9 a.m., to meet at the Liberty Hill parking area and do a trail walk on the new trail.
Thank you. May the weather be better than projected.
Rain date the next day.
And D4000 is in order.
Mainly for ticks, not so much for mosquitoes, mainly
Yeah,
for
the ticks are brutal this year.
Yeah.
I will not be coming.
I'd like to know, I'd be interested to know who is apt to come.
Yeah, I'm not into hiking and woods.
Ticks.
I
You're
just,
not into ticks, tell
I've
us
just
the
never been
truth.
an outdoorsy, well, yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you the main reason it would be important to have someone come from the selectmen is because we have one crossing that we will not be able to do with a simple bog bridge that the Boy Scouts can help us with. There's one crossing that is going to be more substantial. It's a water crossing. And so it would be good if we had someone on the selectmen. Actually, Chip will be there, I know for sure. To
I bring my own ticks.
right to help us look at that.
What time Saturday?
9 o'clock. Be great.
I would love to join you, but my wife's going in for surgery, so I'm going to be.
You're going to babysit it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I would also love to go, but I know I've got 4 things that Saturday morning already, so.
Was that her name?
Mm-hmm.
She just gonna have to have surgery. Knee replacement?
No, torn meniscus.
Oh, okay.
Piece cake.
Oh,
So and they'll have her walk out, but she's gonna lay low for a while.
Yeah, and PT and all that.
She's been in some significant pain for a while, so it's time.
Yeah.
Not with a torn meniscus, but I did break my femur last year, and we both have the same brace. I'm happily done with that.
Aren't I good about this?
I know, but you got 2 out of 3.
Oh.
Sorry. I just had to.
He's counting the steps. He's getting the steps.
Thanks.
Okay. Moving on to library test pits.
So, I guess I started this. Along the lines of saving money, one of the first things that we need to do in order to answer questions from the planning board is to dig some test pits. And we have proposals from 3 companies for the land survey, geotechnical, and then locating all the underground. There's a natural gas line on library property that you probably know about. So we have proposed fees from those 3 companies, and we think that we would save some money if we had Paul and the excavator actually digging the holes under the direction of the geotech. And Underwood, who Lavalley has also proposed work on this project, would be present. So that's the proposal to the selectmen, that we estimate it would take about a half of a day of his time. The cost of the other companies that I mentioned is approximately $8,700 for this first step in the project.
Why aren't you just going to dig safe instead of hiring a company? Because remember, companies have to do that for free for you.
Well, this is Utility Location Services, TMD Services. I don't know the details, but it's $500 to have them do it.
You, is it 611?
Yeah, 811.
811, they'll notify everybody. If we had a system there, I'd have to go out and look for it.
So you're saying that they would do it for free as opposed to paying TMD $500?
Exactly.
The dig safe.
We'll check into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Free's
And
a
they
good,
come out,
free's a
they
good
painted
thing.
everything.
And you have to notify dig safe anyway.
Okay. So it's potentially $8,200.
Okay, and still, there'll be a cost for the services of the geotech, and so this just cuts the $8,200 down by what they would normally charge for the backhoe, right?
No, actually, the backhoe is not in there. So this is the $8,700 that I mentioned assumes that Paul and the backhoe are available from the town.
Okay.
So if not, then it would be more.
Okay. When do you want to do it?
As soon as practical.
Do we have any update from bond council?
I don't have anything definitive as yet. I had a conference call with 2 of the attorneys on Friday. They were just looking for some clarification on questions and on the deeds. So I sent them, I had a brief history of the library that explained, the donation of the land and the building and all that, which kind of broke it out into English.
Yeah.
So I sent that over to them. And the initial attorney that was working on it, Renelle, had never dealt with it before, so she has passed it along to another attorney in the firm that I was speaking with at the same time on Friday. So they're working on it, and they have one reference of a library that went through a similar problem that they're going to contact the attorney that did that bond.
You gotta be old like me to know about reversions. So,
The other thing I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
The other thing I'll add is that this is all within budget. The numbers I gave you are within the GMP.
yeah, I'm just speaking for myself, I have no problem with having Paul help you out, so long as we wait until we get clearance from bond council. Because if it becomes a genealogical nightmare, then there's no sense punching any holes.
Well, and we're trying to make sure it's not a geological in there too, so.
True. Yes.
Yeah, you don't want them to find anything under there.
Right. And I agree with Paul. I don't have a problem with Paul doing that, but, see what's happening with the,
Do we need a motion contingent on the bond company findings? No.
If you'd like to make the motion, sure.
All right, I make a motion that we, I'll direct Paul to dig the test pits for the library contingent on the bond findings.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Not appearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
So,
Okay.
and hopefully we get to that point to know one way or the other sooner rather than later.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next meeting after tonight would be on Memorial Day, and what is our pleasure to have a different time?
I'd like to have a different time.
Yeah.
I agree with the idea of having the meeting, signing the manifest the 29th, and then having a
The next regular meeting.
regular meeting the 11th. I don't know of anything that's really pressing unless somebody else does.
The manifest and anything else that comes up that is time sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Since she's gonna be
Right,
that way.
there's something to do, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So you're thinking late in the day on Friday,
No,
on Friday the 23rd?
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday
Tuesday
the
the
29th?
Tuesday the
29th?
29th.
Oh, okay. Just, what, a normal 7 o'clock or,
yeah.
well, you'd like it earlier so you could go home, of course.
Well, that doesn't matter, because I want to make sure Liz has time to get things together. Because she generally is off Thursdays, and Thursday afternoons and Fridays. She's working a compressed schedule right now. So having the meeting on Friday to sign the stuff wouldn't work for her
Okay.
schedule at all. So she would be back to work on Tuesday morning. So if we did our normal time on Tuesday and authorize her to submit payroll prior to the manifest being signed.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so take that as so moved, and so moved by Selectman Morgan and seconded by Duraki, and all those in favor?
Aye.
There we go, okay.
All right,
Any other new business?
not at this time. Hey, safe out of these.
Okay, if there's no other new business, then it's time to deal with our manifests.
I move to approve the attached manifest of unpaid bills detail as of May 17, 2018, in the amount of $28,609.
Second?
Motion made and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, and that's the first quarter of the transfer from special details that goes automatically into the special revenue fund and then is transferred over to the general fund on a quarterly basis to replenish the salary line items and et cetera.
The police officers have already been paid, it's just reimbursed. Okay.
I move to approve the attached manifest of unpaid bills detail as of May 17, 2018, in the amount of $182,785.80. No school payments, this manifest.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
I move to approve the attached payroll number 10, pay date May 17, 2018 through period April 30th, 2018 through and including May 13th, 2018 Gross amount excluding payroll liabilities, $50,030.93.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any other business to come before us this evening?
Just information, at our meeting with the rec department, we talked about inspecting the buildings. I met with Jim and to see if he was agreeable to that, and he said he would do that.
Great, Mrs. Soto.
And
Yeah, I gave
Chester
them
was
the
there.
codes and stuff today.
Oh, good.
Okay. Chester was in the office, so we talked about it, and he's gonna notify the rec department.
Good. They'll give us a better report as to where we are.
Yeah.
And we know that we have our warrant article for Grasco. Let's see what
For a very small building.
and
Wow. We got something.
We'll get something, right,
well, and we'll have to see what happens, but of course, they have a revolving fund,
right.
you know, with 60,000. So we'll just have to see what happens.
I would, I don't know if we need a whole building, but a lot of fields, there's no place, there's no storm shelters or anything, lightning shelters or anything like that. I know that's the electrical building, but if that could be a small building, enclosed building to house the electrical, and then just maybe a pavilion with a roof just to get out of the rain or lightning or something like that. A lot of fields are going to that, so people don't get hit by lightning, but I don't know if only electrical service, if that makes any.
Right, yeah. And it's high power.
Yeah, it's high power, so I don't know if that makes sense or not, but, I mean,
Yeah, just a shelter for whatever happens.
yeah.
All right, and they have a little bit of it with the
Instead of
dugouts.
building, instead of the cost of the whole, walls and doors and windows. just-
Yeah, we have a little bit of it with dugouts at Caswell, but not much beyond that.
Right.
Are there enough parents here that the kids would go in the car? I imagine most of the parents would
Right.
tell their kids to get in the car.
See, adults that don't do what they're told.
Just
Too bad for them.
We'll see. See where the rest of the building stand, I think.
Well, no, that's okay, and Jim can help us in that regard too.
Yeah. It's a great start.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Yeah, not bad.
Hey, we did pretty good, that was a lot of stuff.
It was the biggest pack.